at one point we had to stick our hand down into a nasty, shit-filled toilet.
Classic.
To get a key or something. And that was probably the most devastating thing of that night.
I think you're overreacting.
I think I am too.
Welcome to The Cauldron, a podcast hosted by Ed Bolden-Greer, the creator of Ravensvale. In each episode, Ed will have free-flowing conversations about life, culture, and personal growth. Expect to hear from storytellers, authors, experts, life gurus, thought leaders, and influencers. The Cauldron is a place where concoctions of a lot of ideas are brewed down to potions that are sometimes important and useful, sometimes eccentric and bizarre, but always just what you need. The Cauldron podcast may contain explicit language and thematic elements not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome to the Ravensvale Cauldron podcast, where we gather around the mystical cauldron to stoke the embers of curiosity and ignite the fires of imagination. I'm your host, Ed Bolden-Greer, and joining me is my co-host, the conjurer of curiosity, Jacob Garner, a.k.a. Frady Cat.
Hello, everyone. In this episode, we'll peer into the cauldron and tackle 3 of the most popular Reddit stories where individuals grapple with the question, am I overreacting?
Yes.
Join us as we dissect the real-life scenarios, offering insights and perspectives on whether their reactions are justified or over the top.
Hey, Jacob. How's it going, man?
It is going, and it's going.
This year started off kind of nice.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like a calm before the storm, I would say.
That's what I'm afraid of. We're gearing up for our company's annual meeting.
Very excited about that.
Very excited about that. We got some great food.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of weird that everybody broke for the meatloaf.
I know.
Which was really interesting. I chose the pork roast, but...
Well, takes all kinds.
I guess.
Hey, I was at Target today, not a sponsor. And I saw this game.
Okay.
And I bought it because I thought we could use it. And yeah, pick you a card right there out of this section right here. Okay. I'm going to say this. When I first saw this game, I thought it said questions to ask your dumb friends. A little dyslexia was kicking in, and I immediately thought of you, Jacob.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was just like, all right.
The game's actually dumb questions to ask your friends, and it is a game, and I'm going to say Jacob and I don't like following rules most of the time, so we're not going to follow the rules, and but we are going to answer a question today. I thought it'd be fun for us to take this card, so I'll go first, okay?
Okay, let's hear it.
Taylor Swift needs a backup singer for her show tonight. Out of our administrative staff, okay, in the whole corporation, who'd do the best job?
You know, I know some people are going to think it has to be a female, but I mean, Jared's got a good singing voice. And to me, that would also be pretty funny to have like Taylor Swift is like, by the way, T-Swizzle can't come out, but we have a replacement. And then Jared...
No, she's going to be there. According to the card, he needs a backup singer.
Oh, I read that as like she can't be there. Who's the backup?
No,
that shows
no,
you
no.
How stupid
She's going to be on stage.
This is a question you ask your dumb friends because I was just like, yeah, who's the backup? Who's coming in clutch for the pinch hitting? All right. Well, shit. Yeah, I'm still going to double down with Jared, actually.
I think it's great that you chose Jared. I think that puts me in the audience.
All right. Let me get this going. All right. Which of our administrative staff is most likely to accidentally go viral on TikTok?
Presley.
Mm-hmm. You think so?
Mm-hmm. Presley. I think that he would post something and not even know that it was going viral.
Yeah, just wake up.
Just
to
like
it.
wake up and go, oh, well, one of your partners, Matho, did that same thing.
That's exactly. He like made a shit posting meme of it was like a Sonic the Hedgehog cover of "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance, and all he did was like post a crappy like 7-second clip on his TikTok. Woke up then next day to like 55,000. I think it's up to like 63,000 right now. Just
in time for the death of TikTok.
Yeah, I know, right? So, way to get in before the house burns down. That's cool.
Yep. You know what? I know that this episode's coming out on the 28th, so by the time we do this, TikTok will probably be no more in the United States.
Yeah. Dang it, I was just about to make my channel.
Yeah. Well, we've had a kind of an idea to put out a TikTok for a couple months now.
Yeah.
We've just been holding out for this. I honestly believe somebody's going to step up and buy it. The majority stockholders. I don't know.
Do you think it'll just be some random company we've never heard of that just decides to do it?
Or it'll be a brokerage that puts the funds together with a bunch of people just to purchase it?
Huh. Well,
but I think that's the only.
Let's throw our hat in the ring. Ed. Come on, let's make a bid. Why don't we just make our own?
Why don't we just wait until it's not available in the United States and the U.S. TikTok takes a big dive and it becomes worth nothing.
And then we buy it.
We'll
call it Talk Tick.
TikTok. So, we have a website.
Yes, we do.
And we have social media.
Yes, we do.
And we would love for you guys to go look at our social media and to look at some of the stuff we've put out there. Mm-hmm. Just posted a good photo of you today.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that you can do is we're doing something a little different today. We're going to be talking about a Reddit forum called Am I Overreacting? AIO. And I'm just going to say, Jacob's been spending a lot of time over at Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Hey,
read this story. What do you think about it? And so I thought that it would be really good if we formed a little committee, and me having nothing to do with it. Jacob was the chairperson, and his two partners served as the other committee members.
Yes.
And they came up with 3 of the best posts out there, best being the worst probably, you know what I'm saying? Juicy. In this particular forum. And I want to say, it is a very weird, I went in last night and was looking at it. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Oh, yeah.
I like it because it's weird, but it is not what I normally go to Reddit for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think the questions that we picked, they're kind of all over the place.
Yep. I'm over in horror Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
So this is astounding. I was very entertained. So why don't you go ahead and read the first story?
All right. So, guys, I'm going to read the title of the post, and then I'm going to read what the actual post said, and then we'll make our determination. Follow us on social media. Go to our website. I'm curious how some of our listeners would react.
Tell us what you think. Do you think that Jacob and I have it right when we give our responses? We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so number 1, am I overreacting? My girlfriend thinks I overstepped by getting a PlayStation. Am I in the wrong? And the post reads, so I, early 30s, decided to treat myself and got a PlayStation 5 this Black Friday in Josie. It's Jonestown.
Yeah.
I've been wanting one for a while, and with the rise in the cost of living in South Africa, it's become not as affordable. After budgeting and making sure all the bills were covered, I went for it. It's something I've been excited about, and I figured it was a harmless way to unwind after work.
True.
Yep. My girlfriend, same age range, didn't seem thrilled when she saw it. She said I should have discussed it with her first and accused me of being irresponsible with money. To clarify, I didn't touch any shared finances or skip out on responsibilities. This was 100% my money, and everything else is in order. She's acting like this is a huge deal, saying I'll spend too much time on it and that it's, quote, immature for a grown man, end quote. I told her it's not going to take over my life. I'll still prioritize work, chores, and our time together. I get that she might have been a bit annoyed because everyone's asking her if she allowed it.
Allowed it?
If she allowed it. Ugh. But is her reaction an overreach? Or am I missing something here? How do I handle this without turning it into a bigger issue?
So I'm going to just jump in. Oh, this one's gross. This one's gives me the icks.
Yeah, that's
like it's cringe to the. First of all, I'm going to talk personally.
Yeah.
We have every gaming system.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Every gaming system. And it is how we relax. Just Sunday night, Jared said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to play Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And we sat for 4 hours and played Silent Hill. Now, I'm older than you are.
Yeah.
And for her to say it's immature of I'm sorry, it's immature for a grown man to want to play video games. I work for my money.
Yeah,
I pay my bills. I get to choose what I do in my free time.
I just can't begin to fathom that anybody in my personal life would say they have to sign off or allow me to spend my own money on something I want. That is crazy.
Let's go a step farther. Jared doesn't allow me to do anything. I don't allow Jared to do anything. The thing that really irks me here is that the only I allow is if my body is a part of that, right? I believe you have to have consent. That's allowing, right?
Yeah.
It just sounds to me like she's a stick in the mud.
I find that crazy too. I mean, and granted, we're reading this. We don't know the context of their relationship. Maybe this guy spends a lot of time playing on a PlayStation 4, you know?
It doesn't sound like it, though.
It doesn't sound like it. It also sounds kind of like maybe she's a little jealous or worried that he's not going to spend as much time with her if he's playing the video game, which that's a real concern for some couples.
Well, yes, you can acquire a video game addiction.
Oh, 1,000%.
But it sounds like he's got his head screwed on straight here. He says, I'll still prioritize work, chores, and their time together.
And made sure that he said he made sure everything else was taken care of. So it sounds like he paid the car note,
everything
that he needed to, the rent's taken care of.
So I'm going to say that 100% she's overreacting.
Yeah, I think that you definitely didn't do anything wrong. I could get it if, they had to pay the light bill and then he's like, oh, I don't have the money, but check out this cool new PS5 I've got.
Oh, absolutely.
You
yeah,
know?
you pay your bills before anything else. How should he handle it? He should set some boundaries.
Yeah.
He should say, hey, here's how I need you to respond to me.
I would just buy another controller and say, babe, we can play together.
That's true. Maybe she's mad because he didn't buy her a controller.
Maybe that's really what it is. I mean, yeah. So I think she's overreacting. That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, wait, you brought it up earlier. Speaking of the PS5, how is that Silent Hill remake? Jared's talking about it literally every day at work that I see him.
Yeah. So I think I'm more addicted to it than him, and I, it's a one-player game, so he moves the controls and he does what I tell him.
Okay, yeah.
Mostly.
You're one degree removed from just playing it,
right? So, I guess I would say the game is phenomenal. I didn't play the first one.
Yeah, when it came out.
I
was like, what, back in the late 90s?
Yeah. But I'm a big Silent Hill fan.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things in this one, like there's plaques, and I have no idea what those plaques are, but it's from the first game. It's like a homage to the first game.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what they're about. But overall, it's a scary game.
Yeah.
Lots of gore. And
yeah, it's like a horror video
yeah,
game.
it's a horror video game. And when I say gore, I'm not talking like blood, although there is some of that. It's like at one point we had to stick our hand down into a nasty, shit-filled toilet
Classic.
to get a key or something. And that was probably the most devastating thing of that night.
I think you're overreacting.
I think I am too. So,
Why don't you hit the next one?
yeah. This one is, am I overreacting for asking my neighbor to stop holding her yoga classes in my backyard? So a few months ago, my next door neighbor, Karen,
Was that really her name?
I wonder if that's really her name, started teaching yoga classes in her backyard. No big deal, right? Except her backyard has slowly started to spill over into my backyard. At first, it was just a mat or two near the fence. Not sure how this is working out.
Yeah.
But now her whole group of yogis, YOGIS, basically take over half of my lawn every Saturday morning. One day, I looked out the window, and they were setting up an entire speaker system, blasting calming nature sounds and healing frequencies, all while I'm trying to enjoy my coffee in peace. I politely asked her if she could keep her class on her side of the fence, and she said, as she laughed, "Oh, it's just one big green space anyway." The kicker? Last weekend, they brought out incense, and suddenly my backyard smelled like a meditation retreat while I was trying to grill burgers. Oh, that'd taste good.
Yeah.
I asked her again to maybe shift the class back to her own yard, and she told me I was being too territorial about shared nature and should appreciate the community vibe. So, am I overreacting for wanting to reclaim my own yard, or is Karen taking Namaste a bit too far? She just basically said, "Nah, I'm stay. Nah, I'm stay."
Boo. Get off the stage. This is so odd. How would you react in this situation? I mean, you guys don't really have a backyard.
We have a hill. Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. I would not have a problem if I had a backyard with a neighbor playing in the backyard or something. We had, back before the fences all went up, we had people walking through our backyard and all that. And I don't really have a problem with that. I would have a problem if I was wanting to use the backyard and somebody was using it.
Yeah.
So I kind of jive with that, shared green space. That means that I can, if I want to toss the football a little bit, I can be in your backyard too, and you can't say anything about it, right?
Yeah. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. But for me, I think that she's just very disrespectful. Even the hippie in me says that.
Well, see, and I've interacted with some like super hippie people before, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're totally like, boundaries don't exist, borders don't exist. We should totally just all vibe and, experience everything together, especially when it comes to like this quote, shared green space.
But this isn't a shared green space.
I was going to say, I'm confused about the part where it says that it's near a fence. So I'm trying to figure out what
there's a boundary there.
There is a very physical boundary. I'm assuming that it's not a very large fence. Like it clearly can't be like a 9-foot privacy fence.
When you first brought this to me,
I
guess it was a week ago, and I just did a cursory read, and I thought, oh, they're just putting a couple mats on, and it's because that's what it says. But I went back and read it, and it says it was just a mat or two near the fence.
Yeah.
But now her whole group of yogis basically take over half of my lawn every Saturday.
So when you and I were talking about this off air, we kind of thought that maybe there was like a small little, like kind of like property fence.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's like 4.5, 5 feet.
Yeah.
But it's not like super wooden slats. And maybe it doesn't extend down the entire length of the yard, and maybe she's kind of like setting it up towards the end of that fence, and it's kind of spilling. Because I picture like if she's in the middle teaching it, it's kind of like an arch or a rainbow of mats surrounding her, and it's spilling over.
How many people are doing? I mean, like based on the size of our heel.
Yeah.
If that was flattened out, I could probably put 25 people back there and not go over onto Jack and Julie's property.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck, pun fully intended, on both sides of the fence on this one, because at one point it does feel like she's being pretty disrespectful, especially with bringing out fucking sound systems and stuff like that. That's nuts. Also, if you're outside, why are you blasting nature sounds? It's weird.
You're already in nature.
But at the same time, too, if it's just like a big backyard and there's some hippies doing some yoga while you're out there just drinking your coffee, I could get it if you had like a dog.
Yeah.
You know?
But he also says he didn't mind when it was just that.
Yeah.
You know?
I
don't think you're overreacting. I think that given what we know about Karen here, I think that she probably will keep pushing the boundaries until you don't have a backyard.
Yeah, exactly. And she's going to take this as like tacit approval.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we'll just, because what if her class just keeps growing and growing, you know? And it's like, hey,
start charging a rent.
On Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays, we're just going to use both backyards.
She must be one hell of a yoga instructor.
That's what I was saying. Maybe this person needs to get involved.
Yeah. I think balancing boundaries in our personal spaces, it can be a real stretch.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Whether it's your neighbor's yoga mats invading your backyard or navigating some kind of moral dilemma, like a Black Friday heist.
Oh, my
that we're
God.
about to talk about.
This next one.
Now, let's take a step out of nature for a moment.
Okay.
And let's go into the holidays that we just barely made it through.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell us about a little shopping free-for-all.
This one was just bonkers to me, Ed. It really was. I'm glad that it made the cut, because I actually sent you a few, and I was really hoping this one was going to land.
This one was good.
I think, by the way, I'm going to read this. I think our listeners are going to know how I feel about it. But anyway, am I overreacting? My sister's husband basically stole a TV during Black Friday, and everyone's acting like it's fine. So this
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. This just happened during Black Friday, and I'm still processing it. My sister and her husband, Mike, went to Walmart for their Black Friday sale. According to them, it was absolute chaos. Hundreds of people everywhere, barely any workers, a total mess. So it sounds like your typical Walmart trip.
It's the reason we don't go out on Black Friday.
Mike managed to grab one of the doorbuster deals, a massive 65-inch TV that was marked down from $8.99 to $3.99.
Wait, hold on. Massive 65-inch TV?
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Is it massive?
I got a bigger one than that, I'm pretty sure, in my apartment. Thank you very much. Anyway.
I mean, every room in our house has. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're an idiot because you paid for yours.
Yeah, I paid for mine.
Apparently, the checkout lines were so insane that people just started walking out, like literally just pushing their carts through the doors without paying because there weren't enough workers at registers and security couldn't handle it. And my sister and Mike joined them. They walked out with a $400 TV because, quote, everyone else was doing it. The store should have been better prepared, end quote.
Oh, God.
The part that really bothers me is that they were bragging about it at a family dinner yesterday, right in front of their kids who are 8 and 10, and my kids who are 7 and 12. They were laughing about their amazing deal like it was some funny story about outsmarting the system. I pulled my sister aside and told her that this was basically stealing. It's
Not basically stealing. It's stealing.
It actually is just straight up theft and sets a terrible example for the kids. She got defensive, saying I was being dramatic and that big stores expect this kind of loss during sales.
No, they don't.
And that it's not really stealing because the store couldn't handle their own sale properly. Mike jumped in saying I need to chill, and I'm probably just jealous I didn't get any deals.
Yeah.
I'm honestly disgusted by the whole thing. Later, my kids were asking me if it's okay to not pay for stuff when stores are really busy, which just proves my point about what message this sends. My sister hasn't talked to me since I called her out, and my parents are saying I should apologize for making drama and that it's none of my business. But someone needs to say something, right? Am I overreacting here? Everyone's acting like this is just normal Black Friday behavior, and I feel like I'm going crazy.
This one, I'm going to tell you, this one bothers me.
It's just crazy, dude. It's so crazy.
It is. It's absolutely insane. No, you're not overreacting. This is how I'm going to answer this. No, you're not overreacting. It may not be any of your business what they do, but what they present in front of your children and your nieces or nephews, absolutely your business. Yeah. And shame on the parents for being pieces of shit.
I mean, I think that that's crazy because it made me think of those. Do you remember seeing those videos on like social media that were really popular like 2-3 years ago where do you remember like flash mobs where people would like gather and they would do a synchronized dance or something like that? And then it evolved into a more nefarious flash mob where they would all get on social media and be like, hey, we're all going to Best Buy at this time and we're all going to steal something. They can't catch all of us, right?
Well, there were people doing that. Yeah. For sure. Especially like in department stores in the cologne sections.
Oh, yeah. Victoria's Secrets. I've never seen it happen there. And I think we all collectively watched those videos and went, holy shit, that's not right. That's crazy. Not right. So why is it any different that it's on Black Friday? It's essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah. And so, you know, you and I have had this conversation before. People say, well, I wouldn't steal from a mom and pop, but I don't mind, you know, doing something like this to a big box store or something. Let me just say, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your parents may be stockholders in that corporation. Yeah. And their return is affected by stop loss.
And I'll just say it too. Because I manage stores for Starbucks, not a sponsor. But, you know, when people shoplifted, they weren't sticking it to the man for Starbucks corporate. Like John Starbucks, the guy who owns the whole thing, like he is not personally affected as much as the individual managers and the employees. Right. Like if I had enough theft in a year, that usually meant one less person working on a shift, maybe less labor hours I could spend for people. They're asking me for more hours. I'm like, until we can get the shoplifting under control, I can't afford to give you guys more.
Or your job.
Or the job, yeah.
If you're not doing a good enough job with loss prevention, and so something has to be done.
Can I just say, too, this is like a classic example of mob mentality, too. Yep. Like, oh, well, everybody else is
Everybody else doing it.
But you're grown-ass adults. I don't know what the ages are of these people, but if they have an 8 and a 10-year-old, right, I'm going to assume that they're, like, in their 30s, maybe 40s, right? And you're still following the crowds, like what our moms used to say. Like, everybody else jumping off a bridge.
Would you?
Yeah. That's crazy.
And the answer was, for me, back in high school, yes. We all jumped off 33 Bridge.
So I'm going to say, no, you're not overreacting.
Yep, me too.
Your brother and your sister and brother-in-law are basically just
pieces
thieves.
of shit.
They're thieves. That's crazy. Well, that's about it for this episode of the Ravensville Cauldron. Join us for our next episode, where we will look at some of the most popular stories from another subreddit entitled, Am I the Asshole?
Yes, you are.
Always am.
Now, family, you adults have a few chores to do. Go on over to ravensville.com and see about doing your chores on social media. Follow us on all the social media platforms we made available just for you folks. Like, listen, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you don't mind, please leave us a good rating and a kind comment. You can find the Ravensville Cauldron podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Just search for Ravensville Cauldron Podcast and hit the follow button so you can stay up to date with the latest episodes. So until next time, family.
See you soon.
The Ravensville Cauldron is a production of Small Raven Media. Today's episode was hosted by Ed Bolden Greer with co-host Jacob A. Garner. Audio engineering and sound design by Nick Devan at Nicky D Sound. Copyrighted 2025 Small Raven Media. All rights reserved.